For years, privacy online has been slowly disappearing. Every website tracks behavior, every app collects data, and almost every major operating system sends telemetry back to companies in the background. Most people never even realize how much information is constantly being gathered about them. Search history, location, data, hardware information, browsing habits, and even typing patterns can all become part of massive digital profiles. That growing reality is exactly why Tails Linux has become one of the most respected privacy-focused operating systems in the world. Unlike traditional operating systems designed around convenience and cloud integration, Tails was built with one mission above everything else: anonymity. Now, Tails 7.7 has officially launched, and many users are calling it one of the most important updates the project has released in recent years. Tails, which stands for the Amnesic Incognito Live System, has always been very different from normal Linux distributions. It is not trying to replace Windows for gaming or compete with macOS for creative work. Instead, Tails is designed to help users stay anonymous online and protect sensitive information from surveillance, tracking, and digital monitoring. Journalists, activists, researchers, cybersecurity professionals, and privacy-conscious users around the world rely on Tails because of how seriously it treats security. Every part of the operating system is carefully designed to minimize data leaks and reduce the risk of exposing the user's identity. One of the biggest reasons people are talking about Tails 7.7 is because of its major security improvements. Modern cyber threats are becoming more sophisticated every year. Attackers constantly search for vulnerabilities in browsers, operating systems, and network software. A single flaw can potentially expose private information or compromise anonymity. That is why Tails updates are so important. The developers behind the project constantly monitor security vulnerabilities and push updates designed to close dangerous gaps before they become serious threats. At the heart of Tails is its famous amnesic design. Unlike normal operating systems that store logs, browsing history, temporary files, and caches, Tails is designed to forget everything after shutdown. When the system powers off, all memory is wiped clean, unless the user specifically chooses to save files in encrypted persistent storage. This means users can boot Tails from a USB drive, use the internet anonymously, and then shut down the computer without leaving traces behind on the machine. Tails 7.7 continues improving this system while making the experience more stable and reliable. Another major feature of Tails is its deep integration with the Tor network. Every internet connection inside Tails is automatically routed through Tor by default. This prevents applications from connecting directly to the internet and exposing the user's real IP address. Tor works by routing traffic through multiple encrypted relays around the world, making it much harder for websites, internet providers, or surveillance systems to identify where traffic originally came from. Tails 7.7 improves this integration even further with updated networking protections and more reliable Tor connections. The updated Tor browser included in Tails 7.7 is also receiving a lot of attention. Browsers are one of the biggest targets for cyber attacks because they interact constantly with untrusted websites and scripts. Every month, researchers discover new browser vulnerabilities that could potentially allow attackers to steal information or compromise systems. Tails 7.7 includes updated browser security, patches, stronger sandboxing, and improved anti-fingerprinting protections. These changes help make it harder for websites to uniquely identify users based on browser behavior or hardware characteristics. Fingerprinting has become one of the biggest threats to online privacy in recent years. Even if users hide their IP address with tools like Tor, websites can still attempt to identify devices through screen resolution, installed fonts, browser settings, hardware behavior, and many other details. Tails fights this problem by trying to make all users appear as similar as possible. The operating system intentionally limits customization that could make users stand out. Tails 7.7 strengthens these anti-fingerprinting protections even more, helping users blend into a larger anonymity set. Performance improvements are another major part of this release. Earlier versions of Tails sometimes felt slow on older hardware or systems with limited resources. Tails 7.7 introduces optimizations that improve startup speed, reduce memory usage, and make the overall experience smoother. This is important because many privacy-focused users intentionally rely on older or simpler hardware for security reasons. Better performance on modest devices means more people can comfortably use Tails without needing expensive computers. The developers also focused heavily on usability improvements. Security software often becomes difficult for normal people to use correctly, and complicated systems can actually increase the risk of mistakes. Tails developers understand that strong privacy tools must also remain accessible. Tails 7.7 improves several interface elements, simplifies setup processes, and makes persistent storage management easier to understand. These changes reduce user confusion while helping people stay secure. Persistent storage remains one of the most useful features in Tails, since the operating system normally forgets everything after shutdown. Users who need to save documents, passwords, or settings can create an encrypted storage area on the USB drive. Tails 7.7 improves the reliability of this feature while strengthening encryption protections. The update also improves recovery handling in case users encounter problems with their encrypted storage. Hardware compatibility has also improved significantly in Tails 7.7. Linux hardware support has become much better over the years. But privacy-focused operating systems face additional challenges because they avoid many proprietary drivers that could create security risks. Tails 7.7 updates support for modern Wi-Fi adapters, graphics, hardware, and newer laptops while maintaining strict security standards. This allows more users to boot Tails successfully without struggling with compatibility issues. The updated Linux kernel inside Tails 7.7 plays a huge role in these improvements. Kernel updates are critical because the kernel controls low-level hardware communication and core system security. Vulnerabilities at the kernel level can be extremely dangerous. The updated kernel includes security patches, hardware compatibility improvements, and protections against modern attack techniques. This helps strengthen the operating system against privilege escalation attacks and other advanced threats. Another important part of Tails 7.7 is its strict networking protections. Most operating systems prioritize convenience and constant connectivity. Tails prioritizes safety. Firewall rules inside the system are extremely restrictive, and applications are carefully controlled. If a program attempts to bypass Tor and connect directly to the internet, Tails blocks the connection automatically. This greatly reduces the risk of accidental identity leaks. The update also improves protections against malicious hardware devices. USB attacks have become increasingly common in cybersecurity discussions, because compromised peripherals can potentially inject malicious commands or exploit vulnerabilities. Tails developers continue monitoring these risks closely, and Tails 7.7 includes updated handling policies designed to reduce hardware-related attack surfaces. One reason this release matters so much is because global interest in privacy tools is rapidly growing. Around the world, people are becoming more aware of digital surveillance, data collection, and online tracking. News about spyware, hacked databases, and corporate monitoring appears constantly. More users now understand that privacy is not just for hackers or criminals. Privacy matters for ordinary people too. Tails 7.7 arrives during a time when demand for secure and trustworthy software is increasing dramatically. The relationship between Tails and the Tor network also continues to improve. Tor itself has evolved significantly over the years with stronger cryptography and better infrastructure. Tails 7.7 takes advantage of these improvements while refining how the operating system handles anonymous traffic. This creates more stable connections and better overall performance for users browsing through Tor. Another reason security experts trust Tails is because the project is fully open source. Unlike closed operating systems where users must blindly trust companies, Tails allows anyone to inspect the code and audit how the software works. Transparency is incredibly important in privacy-focused software because trust must be earned through verification, not marketing promises. Tails 7.7 continues this open source philosophy while maintaining transparent development practices. The operating system also includes built-in tools designed to reduce metadata exposure. Many documents and images contain hidden information such as author names, GPS coordinates, editing history, or device details. Sharing files without removing metadata can accidentally expose identities. Tails includes metadata cleaning tools directly inside the system, and Tails 7.7 improves support for modern file formats and sanitization methods. Another major strength of Tails is portability. Users can carry the operating system on a USB drive and boot it on different computers whenever needed. This allows people to access a secure environment without permanently installing software on the host machine. Tails 7.7 improves reliability across different hardware configurations, making portable anonymous computing more practical than ever. The developers also focused on software supply chain security in this release. Attackers increasingly target software update systems because compromising a trusted update mechanism can affect thousands of users at once. Tails 7.7 strengthens package verification systems and improves update integrity protections to help prevent tampering. Many users appreciate how Tails avoids the cloud-centric design philosophy dominating modern computing. Most operating systems today push users toward accounts, synchronization, services, online backups, and constant identity verification. Tails intentionally avoids that model. It prioritizes local control and user autonomy rather than cloud dependency. Tails 7.7 continues reinforcing this privacy-first approach. Another important discussion surrounding Tails involves censorship resistance. In some parts of the world, internet restrictions and surveillance systems make anonymous communication extremely difficult. Tails combined with Tor can help users bypass censorship and access blocked information more safely. This capability has become increasingly important as governments and organizations expand digital control systems. The developers also improved application, isolation, and sandboxing in Tails. 7.7. Modern cybersecurity relies heavily on layered defenses because no single security measure is perfect. Sandboxing helps contain applications so that if one component becomes compromised, attackers have a harder time affecting the rest of the system. Tails 7.7 strengthens several isolation mechanisms to improve overall resilience. Another underrated advantage of Tails is psychological simplicity. Many people feel overwhelmed trying to configure privacy settings across multiple devices and applications. Tails simplifies the process by providing a pre-configured environment focused entirely on anonymity and security. Users do not need to manually tweak dozens of settings because the system already ships with safer defaults. The release of Tails 7.7 also reflects the strength of the open source community. This is not a project backed by giant corporations or massive advertising campaigns. Tails survives because developers, contributors, that community-driven approach has helped the project remain focused on user protection instead of commercial interests. Some people wonder whether privacy-focused operating systems are still necessary now that mainstream browsers include more privacy features. The answer is absolutely yes. Mainstream platforms may offer isolated privacy settings, but they are still fundamentally connected to ecosystems built around data collection and identity tracking. Tails is different because anonymity is built into the operating system itself from the ground up. The update also improves metadata handling, memory cleanup procedures, and temporary file management. Sensitive information lingering in memory or storage can become a security risk if not handled correctly. Tails 7.7 strengthens cleanup routines to reduce residual exposure after sessions end. One fascinating aspect of Tails is how it encourages more mindful computing habits. Since the operating system is temporary by default, users become more intentional about what they save and share online. This creates a very different relationship with technology compared to traditional operating systems that constantly store data indefinitely. The launch of Tails 7.7 also highlights a broader shift happening across the technology world. More people are questioning closed ecosystems, forced telemetry, targeted advertising, and large-scale surveillance. Linux distributions in general are receiving more attention, but Tails occupies a special place because it focuses almost entirely on anonymity and digital freedom. Ultimately, Tails 7.7 is important because it proves privacy-focused software continues evolving in a world where surveying technology is becoming more advanced every year. The operating system has become faster, safer, more stable, and easier to use while staying true to its original mission. It is not trying to become a mainstream entertainment platform or social ecosystem. It is trying to provide something increasingly rare in modern computing, a trustworthy environment built to protect the user instead of exploit user data. For journalists protecting sources, activists avoiding surveillance, researchers investigating sensitive topics, or ordinary users who simply value privacy. Tails 7.7 represents another major step forward. The operating system may not look revolutionary on the surface, but behind the scenes it continues refining one of the most important anonymity tools available today. As digital tracking becomes more aggressive and online privacy becomes harder to maintain, projects like Tails will likely become even more important in the future. Tails 7.7 is not just another Linux update, it is a reminder that digital freedom, anonymity, and privacy still matter in a world increasingly built around surveillance and data collection.